Welcome to Magnum AVL. This is an introduction video on how to use your new GPS system. First, you will get an email from one of our office staff containing your login and your password. Second, you'll get an email that looks something like this, and it'll have a blue link down here to confirm your email. Once you click on that, you'll be brought to another screen with a green box that will appear, and it says your email has been confirmed. Once you're done with that, you click the green X, and it'll bring you to the login screen. And then once you log in with your credentials that were provided, you'll be brought to another screen. This is a general screen that you will see when you log in. To the right, you will see a map. It's powered by Google Maps. You have a map and you have a satellite view here. This just gives you a general overview of each vehicle's location. And on the left, you will see each individual vehicle down here. The first column would be the vehicle's name or number or color, depending on how you have it set up. You have the status of the vehicle, if it's stopped, moved, or idling. The third column is the address where the vehicle is currently located. And you have voltage, which I set up for myself, which was I like to see. It just tells you the voltage of the vehicle if the vehicle has a dead battery, but this is just my preference. If you want to add more or less, you can always go up to the binoculars and check off any of these buttons here. If you click on the vehicles, you'll get another drop-down menu that is specific to that vehicle. So we're going to use John's Service for this example. If you click on John's Service, you'll see another menu that pops up. You'll see today's trip list, view locations, stops, zoom to vehicle, map current last trip, locate now, or edit. So if you click on see today's trip list, this is the full trip list of this vehicle for today. Each individual color here on the left represents a different trip. And on the map, you'll also see different colors that note different trips. The green is for the start, the red is for the end. So it looks like this vehicle started pretty early this morning. You can see if you extend these out, you'll see the start time, the end time, the stop, the trip time, the distance, the idle time, and the address that the vehicle ended up on. We're going to go back to that mapping screen again. Click on John's Service. Click on View Locations this time. This is going to give you a turn-by-turn, 15-second up-to-date navigation. This is quite a lot of data, so the map might take a little bit to load, but this is about every 15 seconds, this uploads a location. It'll have the time, what the vehicle is doing. So this is a heading change. So basically it means the vehicle turned. You will have the speed of the vehicle here and the address. You can scroll down, see number of different times and dates. You can edit this. You can have a different vehicle if you want to view a different vehicle. You can have a different day, a different time of that day, or the locations. You can change it from locations to trip to key events to stop if you'd like. We're going to choose key events and take a look at that. It might take a little bit to load as this is a lot of data that this GPS does track all day long while the truck's moving. So here you'll see the different types. So here, the most recent, we had the ignition come on at 3:47, but this is kind of backwards. This is the most recent, and then this will go to the latest. So this truck started at 7:47 a.m. It idled, and then it had an ignition off at 8:10. The ignition came on, came off. So this is basically all of, when the ignition came on and off, and then when it's idling. You can also do the same thing for stops, trips, or locations. We're going to go back to that other screen, the mapping screen, the general screen that you see when you log in. You can do the same thing. You can view the stops. So you can see how many times the vehicle stopped throughout the day. And then the yellow flags would be idling. The red flags would be stopped. We're going to go back to that general screen. Zoom to vehicle. This will zoom to the vehicle on the map currently, so you can see where the vehicle is currently at. There's a locate now button. So this will send the GPS a locate now. The GPSs do run off of satellite and they do run off of LTE, which is cell towers. So if your vehicle enters into an area that has poor cell signal, the tracker can become a little sluggish. But when the vehicle enters into an area with better cell coverage, it will automatically pick up and it'll refill everything that it did miss while it was stuck. So that is the general overview of this. There's actually a couple more. There's the edit button. So this is where you would go to change the name of the truck, the color, or the number. There's a group, which we'll talk about at a later video. There's a driver if you have specific drivers that are designated to specific vehicles. This is where you would change your odometer, the engine hours if you do have that or if it's applicable to your business. You can enter the VIN, the plate, and all of the other information that's specific to that vehicle here. It's not a necessity, but you can add it. Save the changes. There's also a couple more tabs up here we can talk about. So another big one that people like is the reports. This is where you would go to run any report that you would need. And we'll discuss this in a later video. But this is all the reports that you can run for all your vehicles. They have landmarks, idle details. They have a workday report, which a lot of customers really like that. They have a state distance report, which is really handy if you need to report taxes for mileage. This will tell you exactly how many miles that vehicle went in each state. And there's a workday report. There's a workday landmark. So the workday report will tell you when the vehicle stopped, where it started, how long it sat for, how long it idled for, and how long it was at a location for. This is handy if you do use time to pay your employees specifically. This is a very handy report to have as the workday report. Data admin side. You'll be brought to another list of your vehicles. Each of these buttons will do the same functions as the map view when you first log in. So you have view today's trips, the stops, locations, key events, or the map. If you have specific drivers, you can add them here. You hit this plus button up here. You would give the driver, you put his name in, assign him to a specific group, assign him to a specific vehicle, and you could enter his email or his phone number in here. You have the groups. So this all depends on what your business truly does. So this is a propane business, a fairly new customer to us. But for instance, if you had a landscaping company, you would have a irrigation group, you could have a sales group, you would have a grass cutting group. It all depends on what your business does and what your needs truly are, but you can customize the groups to fit any category of employees that you do have. The next tab we're going to talk about is users. So this is where you would go to add people so they would have access to your GPS system. This group currently has 2. So if you wanted to add someone, you would click the plus button, put their name. You can assign people to certain groups. So if you had a sales manager, you could assign them just to the sales vehicles of your GPS system. This is where you would make the person's login, their password, their user level, and enter their email. So when you enter this email and hit save, they will get sent that email that we showed in the first of the video. They'll get that and they would have to confirm it, and you would give them a login and password. The user level basically depends on who it is that you're trying to give access to. A master can do anything within the GPS system. They can change vehicles, edit, add people, users, run reports, things like that. A manager can do the same thing, but they want to have access to the users. They can't make users or edit vehicles. And a location consumer, that's the bare necessities to get you by. If you wanted to edit a user, you would simply click on the user, hit the pencil, and you could edit the person's name, the group that they're assigned to. You could edit their login, their password, change their user level, or change their email if needed. And lastly, if you needed to delete a user, you would click the checkbox again, hit delete, and it would revoke all privileges to the GPS system that you do have. And then this last tab that we're going to talk about in this video is called alerts. So these are all the different alerts that you can have set up for your company. So there's a alert history where you can see how many alerts have been throughout the day. This is the recipients of the alerts. Currently, we have no one set up, but this is where you would want to put yourself in if you wanted to get emails for power disconnections, if they've been stopped for too long, if they've idled for too long, things along those lines is what you would set up here. And you would put either their email, or you could put a text message in. If you do put a text message in, you have to put the carrier number, or who the carrier is for that specific person. But these are all the different alerts that you can have set up. But we'll go into alerts in a different video in deeper detail. But this is the general overview of the Magnum AVL system.